Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Anderson-Healey Show, the weekly program from the Mountain America Credit Union Sun Devil Radio Network that gets you up to speed on all the latest news in Arizona State University Sun Devil athletics. I'm Tim Healey, the radio play-by-play voice of Sun Devil football, men's basketball, and baseball, and it's my pleasure to be your host for these shows each week, and equally pleased to be working alongside of Arizona State Vice President for University Athletics, Ray Anderson. Ray, we're fully ensconced now in the fall sports schedule with football underway. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Yes, we are full throttle right now, and it's exciting to be back. And we got plenty to talk about, that's for sure.
And we're going to have a couple of guests with whom to talk this afternoon. Two Sun Devil student athletes who performed on worldwide stages over the course of this past summer are going to join us. ASU junior sprinter Justin Robinson will drop by a little bit later on. He won a pair of gold medals at this summer's World Athletics Track and Field World Championships in Budapest, Hungary, becoming just the third Sun Devil track and field star to earn a medal at the World Championships. Justin will join us later in the show, as will ASU senior soccer player Gabi Rennie, who will discuss not only her team's unbeaten start to this 2023 soccer season, she will also reflect on her memorable experience this past summer when she played for Team New Zealand in the FIFA Women's World Cup competition and played those games in her native New Zealand, representing her home country on the biggest stage the sport of soccer provides for women. But we begin this week with a recap of, to say the least, an Arizona State season-opening football game unlike any other in recent memory. Certainly a memorable start to the Kenny Dillingham era of Sun Devil football last Thursday night, August 31st, at Mountain America Stadium. In all candor, the football portion of the evening was not really the truly memorable part, as the Sun Devils squeaked out a much tougher than expected 24-21 win over FCS opponent Southern Utah. What made the evening unforgettable, I should say, was a powerful dust storm, the full-blown haboob that whipped across Tempe and whipped across Mountain America Stadium with about 3 minutes left to go in the first half. And then after about a half hour of blowing dust, the storm morphed into a full-fledged valley monsoon thunder and lightning storm with heavy rain and numerous lightning sightings within an 8-mile radius of the stadium. So that, by NCAA rules, necessitated a weather delay at least 30 minutes. But Ray, the delay ended up being, I think it was 2 hours and 45 minutes. What an unforgettable evening on so many levels. On so many levels, Tim. I don't think a lot of us had ever seen a weather delay like that. And the way it works is that you have an 8-mile radius and you get 30 minutes. Right. Well, if there's a strike within that 30 minutes, say at 28 minutes, then the clock starts over. Mm-hmm. You go back to 30 minutes. And so you get a number of those that went back to back to back, and all of a sudden we're at 2.5+ hours. So basically you have to have 30 minutes, 30 continuous minutes without lightning. That's correct. To resume play. That is the rule. Mm-hmm. And so the National Weather Service, in conjunction with our operations people, monitor it very closely. And so, yes, you might be ticking toward that 30 minutes, and then boom, at 27, 28 minutes, you get another lightning strike within 8 minutes, and you got to start over. So that's what was happening. Mm-hmm. Talk about the challenges your staff, especially your game operations and stadium staff, faced, because that is certainly, as we've said, an issue and a problem that very seldom crops up in the midst of a football game. Oh, absolutely. And then when you have the order to evacuate, seek shelter, you have to leave the stadium because there's not a lot of shelter in our particular footprint, then you have to really expedite an orderly exit of folks all over the place. And so that's very, very difficult. And then you also have to think about how long will the delay last, and then getting the people back in who want to get in. And then as you get further and further into the night, when you realize that a lot of the folks aren't going to be able to return, then you have to think about, well, what staff do you keep? Who do you let go to go home? Because, you know, a lot of the folks who work these games, they got jobs the next day. You know, they're teachers and other folks that need to go home, get some rest, and get up. So people get anxious about, can I go?
Do I need to stay? And so you have to manage all of that, and it becomes very challenging. But our ops job, Mike Chismar, J.D. Lauderberger, and others, they just do a fantastic job. And so we applauded their work on a very difficult evening under very difficult circumstances, Tim.
I had a chance to get a look at the NCAA rule book, and in a situation like that, when you're trying to determine if the game is going to be able to continue, you have about 4 options that are available, potential resolutions of the situation. Talk a little bit about that.
Yes, you do. And they want the coaches and the 2 athletic directors to take a big voice. And what do? Do you declare the game a no contest? Very few people want to do that. Do you declare the game at where its score stands? And so maybe Coach Dillingham and I would have loved to have declared a victory at 21-7, 21-7.
Right.
But you might imagine the visiting team wanted nothing to do that. Or do you just play it to the end until the conference has to declare it? And then I can't remember the other one. It's not a very good solution, like just call the game right now immediately and everyone go home. But the one that is most looked to is the one where the 2 athletic directors and the 2 coaches get together and determine, do you go ahead and play it out, or do you try to declare when the score has been settled? And you might imagine that's not going to be anything that a visiting team is going to want to concede to, not that early in the evening.
And certainly in college football, the idea of like in a baseball game where they stop the game and will resume it the next day, that's not a very tenable option in college football. Although one irony that I did notice is that both ASU and Southern Utah happen to have the same bye week in their schedules this week, the week of Saturday, October 14th.
Yeah, no, if you really had the ability and very frankly the financial wherewithal to do it, you might determine that you reschedule that or start the game over. But this is, college sports, and that kind of financial wherewithal is frankly just not there. And then you have other considerations, like you have the bye week in order to give your players and your team a chance to rest and heal up before you go into the rest of the season. So good thought, but it was probably not going to work at this level, Tim.
Well, luckily the game resumed, and fortunately the Sun Devils did win the football game. But before we talk about the game, I wanted on a lighter note, Ray, to touch upon some of the interesting stories we've heard in terms of the way folks involved with the game occupied themselves during the delay. Kenny Dillingham saying earlier this week that some of the Sun Devil football players were actually doing homework in the locker room because they had assignments due Friday at noon, and ordinarily they'd get them done late at night after they got home from the game or early the next morning. So you have guys doing homework. And I can tell you firsthand that your trusty Sun Devil Radio Network crew ordered burgers at Chuck Box, and they were brought. Our interns went down and got us lunch, and it was the best burger I think I've ever eaten in my life.
Different people handle those situations differently. So I was actually pleased to hear that our guys were very productive and efficient to say, if we've got the time, instead of sitting there and just worrying and guessing and being anxious about what comes next, take that time, take out your laptop, and do some homework that you knew you needed to do. Use that time effectively, because we are student athletes and we take our studies very seriously. So I very frankly, when I heard that, was quite proud that they used that time for productive purposes and got ahead of the assignments, because the time was being sucked away by the haboob. So they reversed it and used that time. I'm proud of them.
Used it very well. And as for the game itself, we all know that the Sun Devils led 21-7 at the half when the storm hit. In fact, Arizona State scored a touchdown in the midst of the dust storm with 5 seconds left to go in the first half to go up 21-7 at the break. No question the Devils came out sluggish after the delay, and the coaches, the ASU coaches, very upfront saying we can't use that as an excuse, because both teams were stuck with the 2-hour, 45-minute delay. But how did you grade the overall performance, and especially the debut of starting quarterback Jaden Rashada?
Well, I look at outcomes, and the outcome was a win. And folks say, well, it was a tough win. We should have won by more. True, but it was a win. And then you go through the weekend and you see a lot of games where the underdog actually won those games.
Mm-hmm.
And you know which ones I'm talking about. And they wish they had the 24-21 hold-on victory that we had. So that's what I judge as the outcome. With all these crazy circumstances, it's hard to grade anything other than we won the game. And that was the intent. With regard to our young quarterback, for the first time under very difficult circumstances, I think he did a fine job. Those weren't easy circumstances for anyone, let alone a freshman. So I was very proud of what Jaden did. And more importantly, his acknowledgement that we got to get better, got to keep doing more. We've got to get better, play better as a team overall. So I like his attitude as well going forward.
Jaden threw for 236 yards and 2 touchdowns, and both touchdowns were special. A 47-yard perfectly thrown strike to Xavier Guillory on a 4th and 7 play late in the first half, and then the final drive of the half in the midst of a dust storm. The Sun Devils trying to negotiate the clock. They have a 1st and goal at the 3 with 5 seconds left. Do you go for the sure field goal, or do you try for a touchdown? Well, Kenny Dillingham rolled the dice, and Jaden Rashada threw a strike to Troy Omire at the left corner of the end zone for a score.
Well, I love the aggressiveness. Let's get after it. We're at home, knowing that you're going to go into potentially a game delay. Let's get that cushion up there. So I thought it was very, very effective clock management, and showed a lot of confidence in the young quarterback. And also, very frankly, the offensive play calling. So I thought it was a thing of beauty, and I'm glad we did, because we certainly needed that touchdown.
Yep, and it turned out to be the game-winning score in a 24-21 Sun Devil victory. That was part of a remarkable weekend, an opening weekend for the Pac-12 Conference. In its final year as a collegiate entity, the Pac-12 goes 12-0. On the opening weekend of the season. And if you count USC's actually already played 2 games this year, the Pac so far, Ray, 13-0 heading into weekend 2.
Isn't that ironic, to be sure? I don't know the last time that has happened. I heard some stat that every other conference had at least 2 losses.
Yep.
Where we go undefeated as a conference in that first weekend, in a weekend when all eyes were on the Pac-12 because of the situation we're in. But I think the conference should be proud that their teams came out and represented well that first weekend. I know I am.
And now this week we look forward to what in the future is going to be a Big 12 conference rivalry as the Oklahoma State Cowboys pay a return visit to Tempe to take on the Sun Devils at Mountain America Stadium this Saturday night. ASU and Oklahoma State played in Stillwater last year in Week 2 with the Cowboys winning it 34-17. They return the visit here this weekend. Like Arizona State, Oklahoma State opened its season this past weekend at home against a team from the brand new United Athletic Conference. Southern Utah plays in that league. So too does Central Arkansas, who was Oklahoma State's opponent, with the Cowboys posting a 27-13 win. Your thoughts on this matchup? And as we said, in future years, it's going to be a conference rivalry.
Yes, that's exciting to have Oklahoma State coming in here, and we played them down there last year, as you know, Tim. There was a point in game when we really thought we were going to win. So
20-17 early in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, so we really are looking forward to the challenge them coming in here. You know, they, like ourselves, were favored by significantly more points than the outcome. And so everybody's got question marks. And so we're looking forward to a very competitive contest. Let them come to our stadium now, and let's see how it ends up.
Coach Dillingham wanting fans to turn out and provide a great home field advantage, and we hope you do. If you can't make it, or if you do come to the game and you want to listen on the radio, please do join us, as the Mountain America Credit Union Sun Devil Radio Network will have you covered starting at 5 p.m. with the Sun Devil Tailgate Show, hosted by Jeff Munn and Kevin Turner, and then 1987 Rose Bowl MVP Jeff Van Raphorst will join Kevin and me for the play-by-play. Kickoff slated for 7:40 this coming Saturday night. And you can hear the game on 98.7 FM, Arizona Sports, and it will be streaming as well on arizonasports.com as well as on the Arizona Sports app. The other fall sport that makes its way into the first segment of this week's show, the Sun Devils' undefeated volleyball team. First-year head coach J.J. Van Niel has Arizona State off to a 6-0 start to this season. It's the best start for Sun Devil volleyball since the 2015 squad opened up 15-0. The Devils last weekend won all 3 of their matches in the Borderland Invitational that was played in both Las Cruces, New Mexico, home of New Mexico State University, and in El Paso, Texas, which is just a half hour away. ASU defeated UTEP 3-1 last Friday in Las Cruces. They defeated the University of San Francisco 3-1 Saturday in El Paso, and then on Sunday it was back up to Las Cruces for a 3-1 victory for Arizona State over the host New Mexico State Aggies. But boy, what a start for J.J. Van Niel as Sun Devil volleyball coach.
Oh, it's so exciting because Coach Van Niel came in here, from USC. We brought him in. I think he was the associate head coach there, took over a program and really has set the stage for upward trajectory very early. And so it's exciting to see our student athletes buying in. He is really excited about being here. And so this team is going to be exciting and very competitive. So our fans need to make sure they come out and support this women's volleyball team.
Great young talent on this team and a great veteran, Marta Levinska, probably the leader of this Sun Devil team. Marta now has posted 17 consecutive matches in which she has recorded 10 or more kills. Up next for volleyball, a trip up to the high country of Arizona, up to Flagstaff for this weekend's Lumberjack Classic at Northern Arizona University. Volleyball will play the host NAU Lumberjacks this coming Thursday evening, September 7th at 6:30 p.m. On Friday, ASU will take on Boise State in a match that begins at 5 p.m. in Flag. And then on Saturday at 11 a.m., it's the Sun Devils taking on another team of Lumberjacks, the Lumberjacks from Stephen F. Austin. Coming up, you'll meet a current Sun Devil track and field star who is also now a 2-time world champion. A visit with sprinter Justin Robinson will follow these messages. This is the Anderson Healey Show from the Mountain America Credit Union Sun Devil Radio Network. We continue now with the Anderson Healey Show from the Mountain America Credit Union Sun Devil Radio Network with ASU Athletic Director Ray Anderson. I'm Tim Healey, the radio play-by-play voice of the Sun Devils, and we're happy you joined us this week. Our guest on this upcoming segment of the show is a Sun Devil track and field All-American who already this year has won a Pac-12 championship in the 4x400 meter relay, came within 0.04 of a second of being part of an NCAA championship in the 4x400, and now he can add to his resume a pair of world championships in the 4x400. Last month in Budapest, Hungary, junior Justin Robinson became only the 3rd Sun Devil track and field athlete to earn a medal at the World Track and Field Championships. Justin ran the 3rd leg of the men's 4x400 for Team USA in a world-leading time of 2 minutes, 57.31 seconds, and then he helped Team USA's 4x400 mixed relay team earn gold in a world record time of 3 minutes, 8.80 seconds. We're delighted to have Justin Robinson with us today on the Anderson Healey Show. Justin, I had a pretty good summer. How was your summer? Sounds like it was pretty awesome to me.
It was pretty amazing. Pretty busy though, but it was pretty good.
Just relive the experience of what it was like. First of all, just competing in the World Track and Field Championships, and then to have the success that you did.
Man, it was a dream. Just going into a different country, competing for your country, and just going out there and getting a world record and getting gold was just like, it's like a movie. It was amazing.
Mm-hmm. Now, you ran the 3rd leg in the men's 4x400 and split with a time of 44.74 seconds. Take us through the race, your role in it. Did you get the sense that you and your teammates had a best-in-the-world time brewing?
Most definitely. With the group of guys we have, the United States is very dominant in the 400. So going out there, we had high expectations for ourselves. My main role was just to get the baton and either extend the lead or keep the lead. So that's what I went out there. I did. I ran a pretty decent leg, not my best leg, but pretty decent leg. So I was happy with it.
Who were your teammates, and talk about them and the way you guys worked together?
For the 4x4 or the mixed relay?
Yeah, 4x400 men's.
Okay. Quincy Hall, he's a good guy. He was the first leg. He opened it up for us. He got third in the individual race, so kudos to him. And Vernon Norwood, another amazing guy. They all took me under their wing. And Rod Benjamin from USC, a 400 hurdler, he got called up to run the 4x4 because some stuff happened to another guy in the individual. He came out and he did a pretty good job as well.
I'd be interested to know, is there a different kind of mindset or strategy depending on which leg of a relay that you're running?
Most definitely. The job for the first leg is, man, just get us out there. So get as big as lead as you can. It's a 3-turn stagger, so it's a little bit different than a regular 400. So just get us out there, get us in front. The guy in second is to push the pace. So usually you put a short sprinter on the second leg, and the third guy, he's kind of, I would say, kind of like your weak leg. So
oh, come on.
You'll put an 800 guy right there, and then the anchor, he's your strongest guy. He's gonna bring it home. He's typically the fastest, the best quarter miler. So that's kind of what we ran that day.
It seems to me they all require their own certain amount of like mental toughness and discipline to know your role, basically.
Most definitely, but it's a race, man. Anything can happen. You got to be prepared to go catch a guy if you have to, or if be in the front, just stay in the front running by yourself. So it just depends on what's the race like.
Take us through the mixed relay and your time there. That was a world record as well.
Oh man, the mixed relay was a crazy thing to watch and to witness, if you could witness it. I was first leg. My job was to get us out there, to get the stick around and to give us a biggest lead as possible. I kind of did that. I got us a decent amount of lead. Second leg, the order would be men, women, men, women. So that's different than the previous years. Previous years you can do any order. So the order was predetermined. So it was just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a great outcome as well. I'm just curious, how does the excitement of winning the 2 golds at the World Championships compare with the same feeling or the feeling that you got, say, winning a Pac-12 championship or competing in the NCAA championships?
The World Championship was it was up here, man. I'm not gonna lie. NCAA and Pac-12s are huge accomplishments as well, but competing on that world stage
and for your country,
most especially for your country, is the way to go. It was amazing.
Now, as we mentioned in the open of this segment, Justin's one of 7 current or former Sun Devil track and field stars who competed at the for the USA in the World Championships in Budapest last month. Among them, throwing greats Turner Washington, Yorinde Van Klinken, fellow sprinter Dubem Wachuku, and former ASU throwing great Maggie Ewan. Boy, there was just some amazing maroon and gold talent on display at the World Championships, wasn't there?
Yes, sir.
What does that, I mean, what does that say about ASU track and field?
Man, we're on the rise. We're coming.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also mentioned earlier, you were one of only 3 Sun Devils ever to medal at the World Championships, the others being ex-thrower and now ASU's throws coach, Ryan Whiting, and the tremendous long jumper extraordinaire, Dwight Phillips.
Yes. How
How does it feel for you to be in that kind of company, one of only 3 Sun Devils to medal at the World Championships?
Man, it's an honor. Coach Whiting, he takes me under his wing. He talks to me a lot and gives me advice just because he's been on that stage for so many years and he's been in my position. So just getting good advice from him, and he was there with me as well. It was just amazing.
How do you reflect back on last year, the 23 season, from indoor to outdoor to Pac-12s, NCAAs, and then on to Budapest?
It's kind of like a blur. Like soon as you get on that track, the first track meet, it's just be like, you think like, dang, it's gonna be a long season. But before you look up, it's pretty much over with. So you gotta just make them count, make every race count. Go out there and represent your school as best as you can, and represent your country if you get the opportunity. So it was pretty good.
Your skill as a track and field athlete enabling you now to become a world traveler. What were your thoughts of? I've never been to Europe. I'd be curious to know, what did you think of Hungary and the city of Budapest?
Man, it was nice. This is my second time being to Europe. I've been to Finland a few years back, so it was nice. It's clean, very nice people. It was a very beautiful country.
Now, are you back this year to compete for ASU once again? What's your feeling, your sense of Coach Dion Miller's program coming up in this 23-24 school year?
I think we got a pretty good shot at winning the national championship. We got some good guys coming back in. We got some good transfers, and I think we have a pretty good shot at winning.
Wow, that'd be something. Talk about the job Dion has done as the head coach of this program.
He done an amazing job. He's been here only, what, 5 to 6 years, turned the program around, done a good job recruiting high caliber athletes and getting those athletes to the level of competition that they need to succeed and to put ASU on the map.
Well, he's already done a lot, as you can tell, especially in the last year, and it looks like there are still lines to be added to the resume of Justin Robinson in track and field at Arizona State and competing for the United States on a world stage. Justin, congratulations on all your success. Thanks for joining us this week.
Thanks for having me.
That's Sun Devil sprinter Justin Robinson, our guest on this segment of the Anderson Healey Show. Justin, not the only Sun Devil student athlete to compete on a worldwide stage this past summer. Up next, you'll meet a member of the ASU soccer team who played for her home country in her home country in the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup. We'll visit with Gabi Rennie in just a moment. This is the Anderson Healey Show from the Mountain America Credit Union Sun Devil Radio Network. Now, these messages. We're back on the Anderson Healey Show from the Mountain America Credit Union Sun Devil Radio Network with Arizona State Athletic Director Ray Anderson. I'm Tim Healey, the radio play-by-play broadcaster for Sun Devil Athletics, and we're glad you're with us this week. Our next guest is a young lady who had the chance to live her life's dream this past summer. Sun Devil senior soccer player Gabi Rennie was a member of her native New Zealand's national women's soccer team that competed in the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup. Not only did she get to play for New Zealand in the World Cup, she got to play in New Zealand, as her home country was the host for many of the games in the World Cup competition this summer. And we are delighted to have Gabi Rennie join us this week on the Anderson Healey Show and to tell us about her dreams come true this summer. Gabi, welcome to the show. So great to have you. What was it like? What was the experience like for you?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I mean, like you said, it's kind of a dream come true, I think. Since I was a young girl and was kicking a football around, playing for my country has always been the biggest goal, but to play for my country in my country, I don't even think I knew that was a possibility. So,
wow.
You know, this past summer has been a very, very emotional and like incredible moment for me that I'm going to be grateful for forever. So,
was there any one aspect of the experience or any one moment that stood above the others for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think I can't go past that opening match against Norway. We came in the underdogs against a top caliber team. And we walked into the stadium and it was completely packed with fans. We filled out the biggest stadium in New Zealand, broke every kind of record in New Zealand at the time for both men's and women's football there. And yeah, to see New Zealand crowd behind us, then, you know, we won that first match. That kind of moment was, yeah, pretty trivial and I think changed the momentum of women's sport and women's soccer and soccer in general in New Zealand. So
that's amazing. And to fill in some of the particulars, it took place on Thursday, July 20th, and it was New Zealand's first ever win, men's or women's, in World Cup competition. It was a 1-0 game, and the crowd number 42,000, which was 3 times the size of the previous record crowd for a women's soccer match in New Zealand.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'm come in at a pretty fortunate time to really see the shift of women's soccer and soccer in New Zealand. So kind of growing up, I didn't have a lot of exposure to being able to play on the world stage. So yeah, it's been amazing to be a part of that kind of process and see the change happen in real time. So.
Now, unfortunately, we have to shift gears a little bit for one moment because that game between New Zealand and Norway was played 12 hours, or I think less than 12 hours, after a horrible, tragic mass shooting that took place in Auckland, the capital. Is Auckland the capital, or is Wellington the capital?
Wellington's the capital. Okay. Auckland's the biggest city.
Right,
yeah.
But I mean, that was just absolutely a worldwide level tragedy. And how was your team able to refocus just 12 hours after something so horrible happened?
Yeah, so that actually happened fairly close to our hotel that morning, and we all found out. And for something like that to happen in New Zealand is very, very rare. I mean, we have fairly strict gun policies over there to avoid things like that from happening. So it was a big shock to a lot of us, and we kind of sent all our love and prayers to the families of those victims. Mm-hmm. Fortunately, there was limited numbers of deaths. But yeah, it was hard to kind of shift gears and turn around and focus on the game when something like that was happening in the morning. So yeah, it was definitely just putting our focus to the games, and we had a moment of silence before the game for those victims. So
I would imagine an emotional win was even more emotional afterward because of that, huh? Very
much so. I think we were representing a lot more than the game at that point, and yeah, being able to do what we could to kind of bring joy to people was yeah, a big thing as well.
Now, New Zealand, the women's team played 2 other games in the World Cup, a 1-0 loss to the Philippines, a scoreless tie against Switzerland, and I believe you ended up tied with Norway, but they moved on because they had scored more goals in the competition, right?
Yeah, yeah. So we, the loss to Philippines really hurt us, and that game's going to be pretty frustrating for a lot of us for a long time. And then, yeah, I mean, we beat Norway head-to-head, but unfortunately goal difference came first, and they scored more goals in their game against the Philippines. So, yeah, that meant we got knocked out, which was a pretty tough pill to swallow. But, yeah, it was an awesome experience nonetheless.
I think I saw on one website the headline something to the effect, disappointment but pride. Is that kind of what you felt, you and your teammates, when your run was over in the World Cup?
Yeah, I think that's probably a good way to put it. We were really frustrated and upset. I think we surpassed a lot of expectations, but I think during the tournament we set higher expectations for ourselves because we knew we could perform. So it was hard, it sucked, but we knew that we had inspired the nation, and that was kind of something that was beyond what we could expect and was bigger than ourselves, and kind of, yeah. So that was cool.
Gabi, that's going to be something that you'll be attached to for the rest of your life. I mean, I can't imagine how proud you must be about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just so grateful that I got to be a part of that group in any way possible. And yeah, I think I am very lucky that I was a part of such a trivial moment for women's soccer in New Zealand. And I guess, yeah, I'm very grateful that I got that opportunity to kind of ink my name in there. So, yeah.
You know how they say no rest for the weary? I mean, you get done playing probably at the end of July, early August, and then here you are back in the States and back as part of Coach Graham Winkworth's Arizona State soccer team. What was that transition like? I mean, your life must have been a whirlwind those few weeks.
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely a big adjustment, kind of coming back into the heat where it was winter in New Zealand for that World Cup. So
that's right.
Definitely back into the desert was a bit of an adjustment, but yeah, it's always great coming back here. I love the girls on that team, and I'm excited. It's my last season here at ASU, so I was excited to get back.
And this soccer team is already off to an unbeaten start so far. They've played 6 matches, 3 wins, 3 ties, but no losses so far. How would you evaluate the team's play to this point?
Yeah, we're a very young team this season. We've had a lot of new girls come in. So it's definitely a new team from last season. I think unbeaten's great. We've got a really solid defence line and a great goalkeeper. And so I think now we really just need to build on our attacking force and our attacking threat.
I know Coach Winkworth wasn't overly pleased with the result Sunday, a 1-1 tie with Kent State. How did you feel about the effort in that game?
Yeah, I was unfortunately out due to ankle injury, so I was having to watch from the side, but it was, I think, the general consensus of us all was frustration. I think we have a lot of talent and ability within the team, but I think, like I said, the younger teams were definitely having a bit of lack of experience and a bit of lack of oomph from that Sunday game. So I think we had a lot of frustration, but we've reevaluated. We trained again today, came together and put out a better performance already. So we're gearing up again for Thursday.
What has Coach Winkworth brought to the program in his years as head coach here?
Yeah, I think Coach has such a people mentality. He cares about each individual player, which really brings a lot, especially in the college game. It's pretty easy to kind of become a number, but he's always good at focusing on individuals and what can bring them to their best and how they can help the team the most. So that's always been something that I've enjoyed from him. And he has that winning mentality for sure. I think we play in the Pac-12, which is probably one of the best soccer leagues in the country. And to be able to compete, and we did compete last season, and we're hoping to compete again this season, is a great mentality. So.
And this weekend, the Sun Devils will be competing in a Pac-12 venue as they head down to their arch rival's hometown, Tucson, Arizona. They will not be playing the U of A, however, this weekend. The Sun Devils will have matches Thursday against Utah State and a Sunday morning match in Tucson against a future Big 12 conference rival, the Red Raiders of Texas Tech. How do you feel about those two matches this weekend, Gabi?
Yeah, I think these will be our two toughest games that we've had out of conference. So it's going to be good for us to really step up our level and prepare us for the Pac play. So we're excited. I think it'll be kind of cool going down south and kind of inking our name in a bit more even there and getting some wins and showing U of A what's up. So
there you go. What do you think is your team's potential this year?
Yeah, I think we have a lot of potential. There's a lot of potential sitting there. I think we just need that final thing to click. So yeah, final passes, final execution, final shots, and I think that this team will open up into a really strong team this season.
Well, once again, we want to congratulate you on your accomplishment being a member of New Zealand's World Cup team. Again, that's something that's going to be part of your legacy the rest of your life. You should be awfully proud. I know everybody in Sun Devil Nation is proud of you, and here's wishing you and your Sun Devil teammates the best the rest of this 2023 season.
Thank you so much.
That's our guest, Gabi Rennie, Sun Devil soccer player and Team New Zealand member, joining us here on the Anderson Healey Show. Ray will rejoin me for the final segment of this week's program in just a moment. We are winding down this week's installment of the Anderson Healey Show from the Mountain America Credit Union Sun Devil Radio Network. Alongside of Arizona State Vice President for University Athletics, Ray Anderson, I'm Tim Healey, the radio play-by-play voice of the Sun Devils. Ray and I are delighted that you joined us this week. We're going to start our final segment with a little talk of some hoops. For me, never too early to talk Sun Devil men's basketball. And earlier this week, we found out the Sun Devils season opening game, and this is exciting, Ray. The Sun Devils are going to open the 2023-2024 season in Chicago on Wednesday, November 8th, as they will take on the Mississippi State Bulldogs out of the Southeastern Conference in one of the games of a doubleheader at the 2023 Barstool Sports Invitational that will be played at Wintrust Arena in Chicago, which is the former, I believe, United Center, and which is the home of the Chicago Bulls and the Chicago Blackhawks. The Sun Devils game with Mississippi State will be part of an opening night doubleheader. The first game of the evening will match Florida Atlantic, which, as you recall, was a Final Four team earlier this year, taking on the hometown team, the Ramblers of Loyola of Chicago, which, by the way, is a school where Arizona State assistant coach Jermaine Kimbrough used to be employed as assistant coach, and a team that has in recent years made a couple of deep runs into the NCAA tournament. But Ray, this has been one of the signature aspects, I think, of the Bobby Healey era. Go anywhere, play anyone. The non-conference schedule always attractive, and what a great way to start the season.
Oh, a tremendous way to start the season. If there's one thing about Coach Healey is that he wants that intense competition as early and as often as possible. You know, our student athletes come here to play at an elite level. Tough competition. You don't back away with softy schedules. So to go into Chicago and play one of these multi-team events with the teams you're mentioning, Mississippi State, FAU, Loyola of Chicago, that's real getting in there early and doing it at a high level. And that's what we want all of our coaches to do, very frankly, is challenge ourselves because our student athletes deserve these elite competition experiences, and certainly Coach Healey believes in that philosophy.
Sun Devils coming off a terrific 23-win season a year ago. Technically, they got to the first round of the NCAA tournament, but they did win a game in the tournament, clobbering Nevada in the first 4 before losing a heartbreaker by 2 points to TCU in the opening round up at Ball Arena in Denver. Mississippi State, a 21-win team from a year ago that also made the NCAA tournament. The Bulldogs are coached by Chris Jans, who was the one-time head coach at New Mexico State. And this is a team that finished last year in the top 10 nationally in scoring defense, surrendering just 61 points per game. Coach Healey's team can guard as well. This is going to be a good opening matchup.
Oh, it's going to be a tremendous opening matchup. And yes, we play defense. Coach Healey, if you can't play defense, you can't play for Coach Healey. So a lot of us like defense, actually. It's not all about the offense, it's the overall game. So it's going to be a great matchup in a great venue at a great time of year. So it should be exciting.
Wintrust Arena again in Chicago will be the site Wednesday, November 8th. Arizona time, the doubleheader begins at 5 p.m. with Florida Atlantic taking on Loyola of Chicago. The Sun Devils game with Mississippi State scheduled to start at approximately 7 p.m. Arizona time on that Wednesday night, and both games will be televised exclusively on Barstool Sports website Barstool TV, as part of the 2023 Barstool Sports Invitational. Sun Devil Triathlon opened its season in typically winning fashion this past Saturday as Coach Cliff English's team, for the first time ever, competed against the folks from down south as Arizona State defeated the University of Arizona's brand new triathlon team in the first ever duel in the desert here in Tempe. ASU winning 2 of the 3 events in the competition, taking the duathlon and the 100-yard swim, while Arizona captured the 500-yard swim. And certainly good to see Cliff's team opening strong, Ray. Good to see them beat the U of A, but it's also, I think, good to see our friends down south with a triathlon team, because that bumps the sport of triathlon, doesn't? One step closer to being an NCAA sanctioned sport.
It sure does. And, you know, Arizona State, we were the first Division I school to adapt triathlon. And the challenge was, how many more Division I schools could you get to join the sport? And very frankly, University of Arizona and TCU and the Big 12, they added their triathlon teams through our inspiration and, in fact, our assistance. So it's nice to be one of the leader teams in terms of advancing the sport. And it certainly was gratifying to get the first dual meet victory over the team down south on Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon. My wife and I, Buffy, really try to get out to events, and they tested it on this one because it started at 7 in the morning. But we were there.
Set the alarm.
And it was fantastic to see our young ladies come out and just really get after it. There was a lot of, I think, pride amongst the folks out there that we had gotten to this point. And so it was fun to be out there. And yes, I think in 25 now, we have 43, 44 varsity at the various levels triathlon teams, whereby now we can become an NCAA championship sponsored sport.
Isn't 40 the number?
Yeah,
the
so
magic
we're
number?
over. We're over. We've worked. You know, it's taken 7 years, but now 25 is probably a challenge to get it all together. But certainly by 24. Certainly by 25, it will be an NCAA sanctioned varsity sport.
And I think another one of those schools that has triathlon now is our future Big 12 opponent, TCU.
TCU.
And in fact, that's the next competition for Cliff and his team, as Arizona State will head to Fort Worth, Texas for the Sunday, September 17th, Battle in the Fort Triathlon.
Yes, bring them on. Battle in the fort, battle in the desert, battle in the fort, whatever. Let's just go battle and prevail. And our young ladies are ready. And
eventually, as we mentioned last week when we had Cliff on the show, Arizona State once again this year will host the Triathlon National Championships, which will take place Saturday, November 11th out on Tempe Town Lake. Finally this week, Sun Devil Cross Country opened its fall season last weekend as they competed in Northern Arizona University's George Kite Invitational in Flagstaff. It was a 4-team event that featured all 4 of Arizona's major college programs: ASU, NAU, the University of Arizona, and Grand Canyon University. The Sun Devil women finished second in the event. The Sun Devil men placed third, while individually ASU's top finishers were Claire Legallo and Jonathan Estrada, each of them finishing 6th in their respective competitions under, I think, second-year head coach Ryan Ray.
Yeah, Coach Ray has got them going. You know, that's a tough sport. And you might imagine up in the altitude of NAU, they won the national championship a couple times, so they will attract some really good distance runners. So us to go up there, and our men and women to go up there, and certainly when you're beating the team down south, let's just call them U of A, in Grand Canyon when you can, that's what we like to do. So it was a great first outing for both of our men and women.
With that said, we bring down the curtain on this week's show. Our thanks to our executive producer, ASU Senior Associate Athletic Director Doug Tamaro. Thanks as well to our terrific engineer, producer, setup man, technical director, doing it all right now, Sean Crespin from the Mountain America Credit Union Sun Devil Radio Network. Thanks also to our terrific group of Sun Devil Network interns, Jacob Jones, Evan Reiser, and Bobby Healey Jr., and thanks as well to our fantastic show scheduler, Kim Nelson from Sun Devil Athletics. Ray and I will be back next week with another edition of the Anderson Healey Show, and we do hope you make plans to join us. Ray, we'll see you Saturday night for ASU and Oklahoma State football. Have a great week.
You do the same, Tim, and we'll see you Saturday night.
And as we say always to our Sun Devil fans,
Go Devils.
Go Devils. Till next time, for Ray Anderson, I'm Tim Healey. Thanks for joining us on the Anderson Healey Show. So long, everybody.